Monday Night Raw, Monday, July 8th, 2019. You know, guys, just when you think we can't sink any lower, just when you think this company can't sink any lower, can't go any more humiliatingly lower than they do the previous week and the previous week and the previous week, every time we think there is no level of rock bottom below where WWE has already been the last 5 years, they always find a way to shock the hell out of us. Not in a good way, in a very, very bad way. Because they find that new level of rock bottom and they shatter that to oblivion to make way for the next week where they'll find a new level and so on. Last night we saw that. And that's why, obviously, we're not in our normal setting right now, guys. I have a lot of business to do. And to be honest with you, we're not even going to bullshit in this review. I'm going to give you guys, as I always do, but perhaps even more frank in this review. There's not going to be a whole lot of yelling. I hope not anyway, because that's not what I want to do in this video. I really just want to be really direct with you guys on how frustrating this product is, on how embarrassing this product is, how sad and how horrible it truly is. And I really want to get that point across without hooting, hollering, screaming, and yelling. Hopefully, I can maintain that. But I have a lot of business to do here in the office, so we're just going to do this review up front, straight out, filled with truth and facts, and then I'm going to get on with the rest of my fucking business, because there's no way I can spend too long on this. It doesn't deserve my attention. It doesn't deserve my breath right now, covering this trash. But I'll do such, because that's what we all congregate here during these reviews for. The amplified man giving his unit his utmost truth and honesty in one full review of this tragic shit show. Becky and Rollins start the night off with Andrade and Zelina. This is going to be a mixed tag team elimination match. The fuck does that even mean? It's a mixed tag match. How can it be elimination if it's only supposed to be the women versus the women and the men versus the men? And the second someone's eliminated, wouldn't that be it? Right off the bat, the rules don't make sense. But you know what? We're going to go with it because we don't have a fucking option. We love this shit. We're going to hope it gets better. It doesn't. This was an 8:04 start time, 8:09 finish with Becky Lynch defeating Zelina. That was via disarmor. So, after this disarmor, Lacey Evans shows up in the crowd because we have to get to commercial. All right, we got to find a way to reset the match. So they had Lacey Evans. And again, this was only a 5-minute defeation of Zelina. Becky Lynch disarmed Zelina in just 5 minutes because they had to get the commercial. Lacey Evans shows up in the crowd. Becky goes out there. They start brawling. Seth Rollins has to get his girlfriend. And we go to commercial to reset. Now, when we come back from commercial, it's confirmed, all of our suspicion. Why is this even an elimination match if it's a mixed tag? Wouldn't make sense. Well, when we come back from commercial, Michael Cole justifies our concerns and comes right out and says, now it's a one-on-one match. Well, fucking idiot. That was the whole... Then why was it a mixed... Why was an elimination mixed tag match? It wouldn't make sense anyway. Of course, we know it's a one-on-one match. You dumb fuck. So now it's a one-on-one match, but for some reason, Becky is still up on the apron like she's ready for a hot tag. Zelina is interfering nonstop the next 4 minutes because, again, this was only 4 minutes after commercial break. Andrade and Rollins was only another 4 minutes because we have to get to another commercial break afterwards, so this match has to end. And that's what happened, man. During these 5 minutes, there was a ton of extracurricular activity from Becky and Zelina, who, again, both are no longer in the match. And again, could have been a cool mixed tag match. Zelina and Andrade versus Rollins and Becky could have been something special. But because this was an absolute joke, this was a clown show, because everything is just revolving around commercials every 4 to 5 minutes. So nobody can get a groove, nobody can get a flow or a rhythm going. Professionally speaking, none of these wrestlers can practice their craft the way they would like to, the way they know how to. They're just doing a few moves just to get the commercial. And that's what all of these shows have become. With this new stupid rule of no wrestling during commercials. It's killing the product. More than we already knew it was dying. Now it's just dying a fast death. After these 5 minutes of Becky and Zelina and all the extracurricular activity, Seth Rollins ends up pinning Andrade. So all of that was just to make Andrade look like a clown some more. Andrade's got so many gifts, and this guy is paraded out there every week when they choose to use him, and he just looks like a goofball, an absolute sideshow. Post-match, Corbin attacks Rollins up at the rampway. The best part about this was Becky goes to throw some blows in on Corbin, but Corbin totally no-sold Becky. Not only was he not affected at all by Becky's blows, and I know you're saying, BC, what's he supposed to do? I mean, really act like he's getting knocked out by these shots? No. But not only was he no-selling them, he was smiling at her and basically pointing, like, get her away. Like, where did these mosquitoes come from? Like, flicking her off. I mean, that was some total shade over to Becky, man. That was a total no-sell job by Baron. I fucking laughed because by that point, that was the only entertainment I was getting. That tag match did nothing for me. On paper, in what we know of these athletes, we know they could put on a damn good mixed tag match. But once you put in that rule of no wrestling during commercials and you make it some weird mixed tag elimination match when you know that's just going to equal out 2 people, so Becky defeating Zelina does nothing because that just eliminates herself. Come on, guys, do the math. All the realism, the believability that I would have put into these 4 individuals was canceled out the moment I knew what was happening, which was from minute 1. And that's what made this an absolute travesty. That's it. Lacey Evans knocks out Becky with a right hook, and that's your entire first, basically half an hour of the show. Can't tell you anything good about it. It should have been. I really, when you think Andrade and Zelina versus Becky and Rollins, we should have got probably a damn good match. This rule is totally killing the product, guys. WWE is now in a world of shit, a world of trouble. I mean, it's been for years. And you want them to make the right moves in the right direction, and instead they're making all the wrong moves in the totally wrong direction. And this is just, I don't know if it's Fox that is asking them to do this because Fox wants them to be more sports-oriented, and a lot of sports, they don't really compete during commercials. I don't know if this is just Vince McMahon's call. And more about what he's going to have in football, his XFL. There's obviously not going to be played during commercial, and maybe he wants his WWE to kind of be in line with the XFL. Either way, it's absolutely killing the WWE faster than it's ever been fucking dying before. We already knew it was on a slow death and at times really on the fast track. This is just, you're in the left lane on the highway and there's no cops around. You can just fly. To your pit of misery, because that's where WWE is headed. Up next, Paul Heyman, and I know that sounds dramatic, guys, but that's the truth. When you've been watching this for over 30 years, this is the worst that I've ever seen this company, and we've kind of been saying that week after week, month after month for the past few years, but this, I mean, with these new rules and the way that the whole show is now just revolving around where we put commercials, and now the wrestlers can't even put on actual wrestling matches. It may sound dramatic, but it's justified. This is a serious problem that is honestly going to kill the WWE faster than we've ever seen. Paul Heyman is out next. He rambles for 4 minutes about nothing. Honestly, before they went to commercial, after that whole Rollins, Becky, Andrade, Zelina, Baron Corbin, Lacey Evans up at the rampway. After when that was all said and done, before they went to commercial, Paul Heyman came out. And they kind of played it up like, what's he doing here? Now we know behind the scenes, Paul Heyman is the executive director of Raw now. So they kind of tease that maybe he's going to make an announcement as executive director. But when we came back from commercial, it was just Paul Heyman talking a bunch of nonsense about his client Brock Lesnar. 4 minutes of blah, blah, and oh yeah, blah. Get out of there with that shit, man. That was another wasted 4 minutes on this show. And then it doesn't get any better. Because then we go into a 6-man tag match, best 2 out of 3 falls. That's Vince's go-to type of match with this new no wrestling during commercial bullshit. Let's just have everything a 2 out of 3 falls match. And this was a 6-man schmaz match on top of that. As I stated on Twitter, WWE television has become worse, I should say, than a circus sideshow. And it's all because of this new no wrestling during commercial rule. And as I said via Twitter, I said the performers, the wrestlers, can't develop any flow or any rhythm. It's just a bunch of meaningless gimmick schmaz matches. No objective whatsoever other than to get us to commercial. Those are my words over on Twitter, and I reiterate them in this video because that's what you saw with some damn good wrestlers in this 6-man tag match. The Revival, the Usos, even The Miz, and Elias, who I'm very fond of. And these 6 individuals couldn't show you anything because it was all just about where can we fit our commercial in so we can reset. There's no flow, there's no rhythm. You go about 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes and then everybody stops. Recoup, regroup, and reset. So anyway, and by the way, by this point, it hit me again just like it did 2 weeks ago and just like it did last week. By this point, it became abundantly clear that this was going to be nauseating to watch week after week. And we cannot possibly go on with this too much longer. Or if they're not going to implode from within, we the fans are going to implode by watching this bullshit. The Revival wins fall number 1 in just a few minutes because, you guessed it, we had to go to commercial. When we come back from commercial, again, Revival does win fall number 1 like anybody gives a shit. When we come back, for some reason, Elias is no longer at ringside. He never lost the match. The Revival won the match for their team. But for some reason, Elias just left. They didn't really give an explanation. So maybe he got injured during the match. Maybe something happened. We don't know. If there is no injury, if this was all just meant to happen, it was written in the script, this makes 0 sense. Why would Elias just leave? So we do hope he's okay, but he wasn't there when we came back from commercial. Fall number 2 goes to The Miz, so now we're evened up. And they didn't go to commercial, so we're like, whoa, no commercial? And we come to find out why. 30 seconds after Miz got fall number 2 to even it up, the Usos defeated the Revival for fall number 3. Literally, 30 seconds after fall number 2. Because Vince wanted to make sure that they were finished before the next commercial. So 30 seconds will give Vince plenty of time. We'll do 2 minutes of schmaz after the 6-man tag, and then we'll fit in another commercial. 2 within a 10-minute period. Vince is trying to get that advertiser money for USA Network. Hey, whatever, man. It's all business. It just sucks that business is being conducted so poorly right now in the way they're going about business. But Usos and Miz end up winning this thing. My theory here is, does anybody care? Anybody care at all? Anybody at all, raise your fucking hand. It's rhetorical. Put it down, wise ass. Nobody cares and you know it. What happened after that? I think that was it. There was no extracurricular activity, correct? No, that was just it, man. We just went through a 6-man, 2 out of 3 fall schmaz match. And all we remember is the commercial breaks. If you think about it. Man, that's sad. That was the whole first hour. Hour number 1 ended with Drake Maverick and his wife backstage. I didn't hear a word what Drake Maverick was saying because his wife was just yowie wowie. That was insane, man. Drake Maverick, you done good, my boy. You done good. And that was hour number 1, guys. No bullshit. No, I can't even make that up. Wish I could. we'll go into hour number 2. And again, it just doesn't get any better, unfortunately. Rey Mysterio returns to Raw. To be honest, I forgot he was even gone. I just did. But welcome back to the overcrowded roster, Rey. Rey issues an open challenge. Bobby Lashley accepts. Lashley destroys Rey in 1 minute. Then there was a post-match beatdown of Rey. So, welcome back, Rey Mysterio. Big plans for you, my man. Bobby Lashley destroys Rey Mysterio. Up next, we got No Way Jose taking on Cesaro. Cesaro wins via sharpshooter in just 90 seconds. Gotta get to those commercials. Make those matches short. BC, what do you mean there's no flow, no rhythm? What do you mean the performers aren't able to perform? I don't know. You look at the Rey Mysterio Bobby Lashley 1 minute match. You look at No Way Jose versus Cesaro in 90 seconds. You look at the 6-man schmaz match with actual wrestling time, no more than 10 minutes. You tell me. Next, we spend 5 minutes with Bayley and Nikki Cross backstage in a split-screen interview, and they're arguing over who's gonna beat the clock later in the night. Who the fuck cares? Honest question, rhetorical of course, but who cares? How is this entertaining? They're just... nobody... After 20 seconds, none of us really even remembered what they're arguing about. We're just seeing 2 females up there. We're just seeing 2 pairs of lips just flapping, and nothing of substance is coming out. It was that mind-bogglingly horrible for the Amplified, man. I was literally looking around for any cement wall, and unfortunately, the closest one is around the block. So I was thinking about hurling myself from the top of the stairwell, or just diving off the 5th story window, and, you know, maybe a little bit of head first to the concrete action, and then catapult myself around the block into the first cement wall that I saw. These were thoughts going through my dome piece as I was checking out this 5-minute bullshit spewing between Bayley and Nikki Cross. Who's gonna beat the clock? Nobody could give a shit about who's gonna beat anything with you 2 later in the night. Next up, we got the Viking Raiders. They beat a couple of Jersey jobbers. You guys know I love jobber matches. Superstars actually look like such. There's a concept. A superstar looks dominant. A superstar looks like a badass. Like they're actually superstars. So I love this jobber match. One of the only things I liked last night. You know, you got to see these Viking Raiders look like the dominant beast they were supposed to be. I just think we need a lot more jobber matches on these shows, man. Because everything else they're doing is just not clicking. It's not landing. Jobber matches are at least making the audience look at these son of a bitches and go, wow, they're fucking dominant. Who's going to take them out? And then at the pay-per-views, if you do it correctly, another set of individuals that you've been feeding jobbers to, at the pay-per-view, these superstars meet the other superstars, and nobody knows who the fuck's going to win. We just know we're in for a damn wild ride. Instead, Vince just has these superstars take on superstars every single week on his shows, which means 50-50 booking is inevitable, which means nobody is truly looking like a superstar or badass or legit. So it was actually good to see the Viking Raiders look as such last night. Street Profits, the NXT Tag Team holders, by the way, they were backstage, and they were brought up just to plug the network. I never thought I'd be saying this early on in the Street Profits' career. They are extremely annoying on the main roster. Extremely. They look uncomfortable as all hell, first of all. They just look like a halfway gimmick between Crime Time and The New Day. And it just doesn't feel original. It doesn't feel authentic. It comes off as extremely annoying. And that's got to be fixed extremely quickly. Ricochet and Styles, they're up next. They're bickering back and forth for about 5 minutes, no lie. They're just going back and forth. I can beat you. I can beat you. I'm a nice guy. No, you're not. You hit me. I don't even know. Like 2 fucking toddlers fighting over the last ice cream in the ding-dong truck. That's what this was. This leads to a match between Ricochet and Gallows. Ricochet defeats Gallows in just 3 minutes because Anyone? Bueller? Exactly, we had to get to commercial. So Ricochet versus Gallows is only a 3-minute match. When we come back from commercial, we get a Ricochet versus Anderson match. What the fuck? So anyway, Ricochet defeats Anderson, obviously, in just a couple of minutes back from commercial. And this sends in Styles in on the attack. A triple beatdown on Ricochet is on. Styles tells Ricochet, if you just stay down, that'll be it. We'll save the beating for Extreme Rules Sunday. Ricochet, of course, has a lot of pride, and he gets back up to his feet, and the club goes back on the attack. AJ Styles finishes it off with a phenomenal forearm. So that'll be the end of that until Extreme Rules. So that was Ricochet and Styles. Ricochet just makes Gallows and Anderson. Gallows and Anderson just signed a new deal with WWE. And once Vince saw the name on the contract and knew that he's got him right where he wants him for 5 years, Vince is like, job him out. So we thought that we were going to see something cool with the reformation of 3 members of the club. And instead, it's just a lot of the same. Gallows and Anderson are jobbers. Styles is going to be the kingpin. And who even knows if he's going to be able to get the job done at Extreme Rules against Ricochet? Who knows? Who cares? That was hour number 2. So now we're on to hour number 3 already. And I know, and this sucks, man, because usually I spend a good deal of time breaking down each segment and the matches. And, I mean, that's the fun part about doing these reviews. But WWE is giving us nothing to talk about. There's no substance in these matches. There's no substance in these segments. So we're literally just, I mean, we're flying right by this review. And it sucks. I don't even know how we're going to go over a half an hour. But somehow we are. And that's just because, you know, that's my love for talking pro wrestling, man. You know what I mean? The fact that I can go over a half an hour talking about a shit show like this, that shows you how dedicated the Amplified Man is and how much he does love this product and just pro wrestling as a whole. You know, and hopefully you guys see how much I yearn for change and how much I truly just hope one day we'll all get to see it. Anyway, getting on, man. I don't want to make everybody fucking cry like it's the final scene of Stranger Things Season 3. Go watch it if you haven't. Beat the Clock Challenge starts out hour number 3. Bayley defeats Sarah Logan in 4 minutes and 32 seconds. So Nikki just has to beat Dana Brooke before that time. And she does. Nikki beats Dana, and what was it, like a $1.32 or some shit. So Nikki beats the clock. Now, there was a stipulation on this. Nikki gets to, or whoever won, they get to pick the stipulation in Alexa versus Bayley's championship match Sunday at Extreme Rules. Again, this is weird because Nikki Cross versus Bayley a few weeks ago, if Nikki wins, Alexa gets a shot at Bayley's championship. Wasn't that weird a few weeks ago? Because how does that make sense? If Nikki wins, Alexa gets a shot? But that's what happened. So here we find ourselves last night, and now if Nikki beats the clock, then she doesn't get anything. She just gets to pick the stipulation for Alexa and Bayley. It's just so odd. In somewhere in Stamford, Connecticut, around a huge boardroom meeting table, they're all getting together and they're all thinking this is a great idea. They're like, this is the best, this is good shit. It's mind-boggling, man. So anyway, Nikki gets on the mic and Nikki tells Bayley that at Extreme Rules, it'll be a 2-on-1 handicap match. Bayley versus Alexa and Nikki Cross. Bayley's title on the line. This is just so stupid, man. A handicap match for the championship. I mean, this is out of hand now, man. I don't even... This is where it gets semi-interesting. This is what piqued my interest. And let me know, guys, if you caught on to this or if this is the first that you're thinking about it. Hey, that's what I'm here for. But Nikki tells Bayley to go find someone you're close with. Someone who's loyal to you so they can smack some sense into you. And that's where Bayley kind of smacked Nikki Cross and laid in some blows on Nikki. But that didn't go by the Amplified Man. That didn't go over my dome piece. The fact that Nikki made a 2-on-1 match, automatically we're thinking, well, somebody, whether Bayley loses the title or not, or it's a post-match type thing, somebody's got to come out and save the day for Bayley. So that's already on our mind once we heard 2-on-1. On top of that, for Nikki to actually tell Bayley to find someone you're close with, find someone who's loyal to you, who do you think we're thinking about? We're thinking one name, and that's Sasha Banks. So this leads a lot of us to believe that if she's coming back, she is coming back Sunday. And of course, I'm talking about Sasha Banks. Will she return at Extreme Rules to help out Bayley in some way? Now, on one hand, I absolutely want to see Sasha Banks return. I know a lot of us is saying it's going to be the same shit, and I agree with you. If nothing's changed, and we're seeing that nothing really is changing, then it's just going to be the same shit. So a lot of us just want her to just sit it out, hold your ground, and go to AEW when you're available, when you can go to AEW. The problem with that is I'm sure Vince will just freeze her contract. She'll be under contract forever, knowing Vince. He'll get the right type of litigation. So the only option really is to come back and hope that something has changed and something has clicked in creative's mind and they see how valuable Sasha is. But on that one hand, I do want to see Sasha come back ASAP. And if that means Sunday in Philadelphia at Extreme Rules, then I'm down with it. What I am not down with is her just coming back, help out Bayley, and all of a sudden there's a reformation of the Boss and Hug collection. Nobody needs to see that because we already saw it fail miserably the first time. What makes you think this will be any different? Sasha Banks comes back. It has to look like she's helping out Bayley. Maybe even she helps her keep the title Sunday. But then we need to see an immediate heel turn by Sasha Banks. And we need to set up what we wanted to see for 2 years now. Bayley, Sasha, gold on the line. That's how this has to play out, guys. Otherwise, history is just repeating itself. And we're just going to get the Boss and Hug. And what happens, guys? 6 months down the road, do they get the tag titles from the Iconics or someone else, another team? And then what? Do they hold the titles for 2-3 months? And then they just lose it again and they're back in obscurity. And even if they win the titles, I'm telling you right now, they're going to be in obscurity even with the gold. When's the last time you heard of the Iconics recently? You haven't, and they're the title holders. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about, guys. So, it's that type of shit that just you're excited at first. Oh, they just hinted like maybe we'll see Sasha, and then you kind of cringe because you're like, oh no, are they just gonna put her back with Bayley? So it's a 50-50 crapshoot here, guys. We don't even know if this is where they're headed. I'm just giving you food for thought. That Sasha could possibly show up Sunday at Extreme Rules in Philadelphia in some type of way during Bayley's match. Because if you go back and listen to Nikki Cross, why would she tell Bayley to find someone she's close to? And who else would really help Bayley? Naomi, maybe? I don't know, man. Carmella? I don't know. It's setting up for Sasha, you would have to think. And if that is the case, if that is what happens, I hope they really do set up a Sasha heel turn on Bayley and set up that gold match. Up next, we got the Street Profits once again. They're hyping up the network and Extreme Rules, and they're doing their best Crime Time / New Day impersonation. They're just, you can tell it's awkward. They're so annoying. And I didn't want to say that, man. In NXT, I really enjoyed their work, and it just looks like they're just clowns and puppets on the main roster. And that's sad, man. You know what I mean? They're tag title holders in NXT. Why did they have to get catapulted up here right now just to plug the network? It doesn't fit. It's only harming them more than it's doing them good. Up next, it's the main event. Yeah, that was the whole fucking show. That gets us to a trash main event. Roman Reigns and Gary the Janitor. That's right, Gary the Janitor. Gary was backstage fucking just mopping up the floors and trying to fucking Clorox everything that Raw has touched. Anything that Vince has touched. Gary the Janitor is trying to wipe that shit clean. Good luck, Gary. So somehow Shane McMahon finds Gary the Janitor and says, you're going to be Roman's partner tonight against Drew McIntyre and myself. So, meaning Shane. So that's what happens. This was stupid from the beginning, because if you saw Gary earlier in the night, the janitor, when Shane told him he was going to be taking on Drew and himself, Gary was pretty tall. When this Gary came down, first of all, he's in a fucking luchador mask. Secondly, he lost 3 feet off the top of his body. He was a little dude now. Gary was tall. How did he just lose 3 feet? And he's got a mask on? Come on, man. We know that's not Gary. We know it's going to be somebody that's going to be actually doing wrestling moves. I thought at first it was Lio Rush, to be honest with you. It would turn out to be Cedric Alexander. I'll get to that in a minute. But that was the first stupid thing. It wasn't even close to height, so you knew right there it wasn't Gary. And the second thing that was stupid right off the gate is that Drew McIntyre spent the first 2 minutes before the match talking shit to Roman Reigns. That would be great if we actually believed in what Drew was saying, but we heard this same song and dance before WrestleMania, and at WrestleMania, Drew lost within 10 minutes, simplistically and clean. Then we heard the same song and dance again at Stomping Grounds, and in 10 minutes, Drew McIntyre simplistically lost clean again to Roman, I'm sorry. And now here we are again, setting up a tag match for Extreme Rules, and Drew is talking shit to Roman again. Why should we believe Drew at this point? We know he's capable of putting on great matches. We know he should have been a force and a presence right now. But they made him a fucking joke. So anything that comes out of his mouth, what the fuck are we going to believe it for? Roman's just going to take you out again Sunday. It's obvious. Anyway, Shane and Drew win this match in 5 minutes. They defeat Gary. Gary ended up being an actual wrestler, as I said. When the mask was taken off, it was actually fucking Cedric Alexander. But this is the thing. This was a 5-minute match, guys. Gary gets beat within 5 minutes, and Shane and Drew go up the rampway as winners. They're celebrating, and Cedric rips off his mask and smiling like he just did something, like he just pulled off the biggest fucking ruse, the biggest fucking, like he did something special. You know what I mean? Like, what are you smiling about? Like he just pulled off the biggest hocus pocus bullshit in the history of sports entertainment. What did you do? You went out there and within 5 minutes, Cedric, you lost. He just rips the mask off like he did something cool, something special, something epic. You lost in 5 minutes, bro. Just because you took Gary's spot, Gary probably would have lasted 6 minutes. And that's how he ended. Cedric smiling, and the crowd like, whoa, it was Cedric. Or the crowd that knew who the fuck it was, or the crowd that knew who it was and actually cared that it was fucking Cedric. I know I didn't give a shit. This did nothing but harm Cedric more than it fucking would have helped him. Now you could look at it like, hey, Cedric was actually in a main event, BC? What? No, it was Gary, but it ended up being Cedric. But this did him no favors. This guy looked like a fucking clown. If I got beat in 5 minutes, I would keep the mask on and make sure nobody knew it was me. Instead, he gets beat, he pops up, he takes his mask off, he's smiling, he's like, that was me. I got beat. Cedric's the loser. That's me. What the fuck? Who is writing this shit? Who? I could see if, like, Gary wins the match and then it ends up being Cedric Alexander. That's still no way that I would want my go-home show to Extreme Rules to end. But at least it would be a little bit more of a pop moment for Cedric Alexander fans or 205 Live fans. And instead, he just loses in 5 minutes, rips it off, and is still celebrating. Yeah, that was me. I almost had you. I almost went 5 minutes and 6 seconds with you. You rebel! You're so good! That's good shit! Fuck, man. That was actually it. I have nothing else to... That was the whole entire show, man. If I wasn't trying to make light of the situation, trying to find some amusing points in this review to try to make you guys laugh a little bit or have some fun, if I wasn't doing that, this would be a fucking 20-minute, if even, review. No substance at all in this show. guys. None. And that's not an opinion. That's not, I mean, you know, you always get the clown that goes, actually, Beastly, I liked this Raw. Something about it I liked. Or it flowed well, Beastly. You know, you always got the dipshit that wants to go against the grain or against whoever's presenting their review. And I get that. That's the nature of the beast. But there's not even a difference of opinion in this week's Raw. We all collectively, if we're being truthful, know that was a sad show. And it wasn't even just a regular show. That was your go-home show to one of the big pay-per-views in the year, Extreme Rules, even though in past years recently it hasn't been so extreme. It's been the opposite. But we still look at it as something that we kind of think in the back of our dome pieces subconsciously, hey, it could be good. It's Extreme Rules. That was your go-home show. So even if we had that in our subconscious, maybe it'll be good, that's erased. Because I'm pretty sure none of us are anticipating any good out of this pay-per-view special event Sunday. Judging by their go-home show. I mean, you'll probably have Gary / Cedric Alexander and the fucking Street Profits ending Extreme Rules in Philadelphia. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Amplified Man. That's it, guys. I got a lot of business to do right now, and I would like to get a couple of coffees. I can't even do that now. I have to do the business first, get a couple of coffees. And then I got a lot of errands, and then I will be checking out SmackDown tonight, so I should be over on the Twitter machine, live tweeting with you guys tonight during SmackDown Live. I hope to be anyway. And of course, tomorrow we'll do the SmackDown Live review and reaction, and hopefully there's more substance to tonight's show. Hopefully I can really fucking talk a lot more and go in depth in tomorrow's review, because Lord knows I couldn't in this one, and I apologize because I don't feel like I'm doing my job justice in these reviews. But if Vince doesn't give us any substance during the show, then I can't go hours talking about something that's just fucking pathetic. That's the best way to sum up Monday Night Raw last night. Absolutely pathetic. I'm the Amplified Man. For now, guys, we'll check you.